Okay, so here are two quick examples showing you how to multiply matrices by hand. First thing you have to do is make sure that the matrices are even capable of being multiplied together. So we write down the size of matrix A. It has 2 rows and 2 columns, so it is a 2 by 2 matrix. And matrix B has 2 rows, but it has 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. So the way we know if these are able to be multiplied together is we check the inside. And because those are both the same number, we're going to end up with a matrix that is 2 by 3 at the end. So I always like to know the size of my matrix at the end so I can kind of set up what my work is going to look like. I know it's going to have 2 rows because of this right here, and it's going to end up having 3 columns. I'm going to need some space for my work, but I know that it's going to end up being 2 rows by 3 columns. Right, and now what you do is you multiply the row by the column. So first you're going to take the first row and multiply it by the first column. So every time you start, you're going to multiply the first number in each. So first row by first column, so 1 by 2. And now if you are able to see on the screen, it's a little tricky to show, but what I'm going to do here is now move over to the next number in the row and move down to the next number in the column. So after I multiply 1 by 2, now I'm going to move my finger in A. I'm going to move it over to the right. So now I'm going to multiply 3 by 8. So you multiply the row by the column, 1 by 2 plus 3 times 8. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Notice I'm still in the first row here. Now I'm going into the second column. So I need to multiply the first row, because that's the row that I'm in, by the second column. So you do 1 times 6, and then you're going to move over. You never stay at the same number. So I've already used the 1 and the 6. Now move right and down, and you're going to multiply the 3 and the 9. Okay? Now what you're going to do is do that again. So now you're going to do the first row, because again, I'm still in the first row, but now I'm in the third column over here. So I'm going to multiply the 1 by the 7, and then the 3 by the 10. So again, notice different numbers show up each time. Okay, now you're going to repeat that entire process, except now you're going to do the second row, because now I'm in the second row, and I'm going to start with the first column. So you pair up the first numbers, the 5 times 2, and then move over in the row and down in the column. So I'm going to go that way and that way. So moving over and down, next numbers are 4 and 8. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the second row with the second column. So 5 times 6 plus 4 times 9. And then finally, I'm going to do the second row times the third column. So you'll see again, I'm always going to have that 5 and the 4, like you see here. But now it's 5 times 7, and then 4 times 10. So notice as I look at my work, in the first row, you're always going to see this 1 and 3 every time. And in the second row, you're always going to see that 5 and 4 every time, because that came from the first matrix. Now, if I look in the column-wise, you're always going to see the 2 and the 8 coming from the first column, then the 6 and the 9 coming from the second, and then the 7 and the 10. So you can kind of see how that work should look. Now what you're going to do is actually just multiply those things together. So I'm going to write my answer out up here. So I'm going to do 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 8 is 24, 2 plus 24, so I'm just doing this right here, 2 plus 24 is 26. And then I'm going to do this one, 6 plus 27, that's going to be 33. And then I'm going to do this one, 7 plus 30 is 37. And then I'm going to do 10 plus 32 is 42. And then 30 plus 36 is 66. And then 35 plus 40 is 75. So this is my final answer, and you can see that it is a 2 by 3. Great, one last example. These matrices are called square matrices because they have the same number of rows and columns. We have something called the main diagonal, which is this diagonal right here. You'll see that terminology later on. Okay, so first thing we have to do is make sure that these are multipliable. So this is a 2 by 2. Of course, this is also a 2 by 2. And since those middle terms match, they're both 2's, we're good to go, and we're going to end up with another 2 by 2. So again, I kind of set this up. I know I'm going to have 2 rows, and I know I'm going to have 2 columns. Now I need it to be a little wider just because of the amount of work that I'm going to show. So now what we're going to do is multiply together the first row and the first column. So I'm going to do 3 times 5 plus 4 times 6. So first row by first column. Again, once you're done with the 3 and the 5, you got to make sure you move over and down. So 3 and 5, and then 4 and 6. Now you're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do still the first row because we are in row 1, but now we're using column 2. So 3 times 10 plus 4 times 8. Okay, now move down to the second row because we're now in the second row of our data table here. So we're down here. So second row, and we've got to pair that with the first column. So 2 times 5 plus 1 times 6. And then finally, we are going to be in the second row. So you see here, I'm still in the second row, but now I'm with the second column. So 2 times 10 plus 1 times 8. And again, now all you have to do is actually do that multiplication. So we'll do 15 plus 24 and get that answer. And that's going to be 39. We're going to do 30 plus 32. We're going to do 10 plus 6. And then we're going to do 20 plus 8. So that is the final answer. And that's how you multiply matrices.